It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.
Welcome to In the Arena, brought to you by LifeVac, the life-saving device that's protecting families across the nation and around the globe. Today, we proudly honor our veterans, the brave men and women who have served and sacrificed for our freedom. You know, we've regularly spoken with and about the incredible work of organizations like the Veterans Administration, America's Vet Dogs, and the Tunnel for Towers Foundation, frequent guests on In the Arena. They continue to make a real difference in the lives of those who've served. Joining us in the arena today are three remarkable veterans. Gerald Wallace, former Sentinel and author, his brother Terry Wallace, a retired captain and physician associate, and Lacey Langford, founder of MILMO, Military Money and Entrepreneurship, and a passionate advocate for military families. It's a conversation about service, sacrifice, and the strength that carries on long after the uniform comes off. My name is Rick Fatscher. I'm joined by
Roadshow Ryan
Warner and Patrick O'Rourke. It's great to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you guys again, too.
Not that it's great. Not that it's not great to see you as well. That came out funny. But really excited for tonight's show. This week is of course, was Veterans Day. And as always, we like to take time out and really honor those that have served and continue to serve in different arenas. And let's start with Lacey Langford, founder of MILMO.
The MILMO Show.
The MILMO. How are you there, Miss Langford?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be in your presence. I mean, we're glad that you're able to join us. And we became aware of what you're doing. Now, we just started with this podcast relatively short time ago, but you've been going for 8 years.
Yes. I love it. It's a great way to have conversations with people, talk about money, and help people get to where they want to be financially, which helps them get to reach other goals in their life as well.
Yeah. Now, it being Veterans Day, we always like to ask, number one, thank you for your service, all you did, continue to do. How did you get into the military in the first place?
Oh, well, I grew up military. I'm actually the fourth generation to serve. My father it goes back. My great-grandfather was a farrier in World War I. Both of my maternal and paternal grandfathers were in World War II. One was a ball turret gunner. One was a Navy captain. And then my father was a military police officer in the Army. And I decided to join the Air Force. I wanted to serve and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So I enlisted. So I come from a big military family, which had, helped me make that decision.
Wow. Yeah, it's humbling, right?
Impressive. I found out my dad was in the Army. Not too sure of the service, but I know he worked on Nike missiles installations in New York. Always tugs at my heart to talk to those your whole family.
Yes.
And I think I saw a clip of one of the Wallace brothers who are going to join us later. Just an incredible contribution that they made and continue to make. Now, when did finances get on your radar?
I mean, they were always on my radar. I was blessed to grow up in a family that my parents talked about money, taught us to spend less than we make and save. But I really didn't listen to that when I was young and enlisted and starting to figure out life. So while I was on active duty, I started to really think about what I wanted to do after I served. And I started to go to school and really thought about finance and taking it to the next level of building wealth for my family and my future, learning about investing. And so it was really having the foundation and wanting to take it to the next level. And then the community that I serve, obviously the military is like family to me. It's very important. And I want to help them improve their financial lives. Not everybody has the opportunity to grow up where they are taught about personal finance and, the basics that they need to understand. Again, not that, you're going to listen when you're 19, but I really want to help the military community and improve their financial life. So that's kind of how it evolved.
Yeah. And how long after did you start this? Did you start MILMO while you were still active?
No, started back to school while I was on active duty for finance and business. I finished up after I separated, and I actually became a military spouse on my spring break. And so I rolled right into all of the problems that military spouses have with and underemployment. And my husband was an infantry officer, so he was gone every other year. The year he was home, he was gone for half of that for training. And so I volunteered so much. I had a CAT card doing financial counseling and coaching for service members, but I wanted to have control over my earning ability and my career. And so I ended up starting my own coaching business, and it evolved over time where I have now a coaching business for business and finance. I have a podcast and other things that I do under the Milmo brand, but it started, wanting to have control over my career.
Is Milmo military money? Is that what it stands for? Or
no, it's just actually just a trademarkable name that I thought was kind of trendy with Military Monday.
Yeah, Milmo. Yes. Yep. Okay. And also, we just glazed right over. I got married on spring break. What happened there?
Oh yeah, it was actually in between deployments. No.
Okay.
Yeah, we had known each other a while.
Crazy. Okay.
Oh, you knew each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
We met while I was on active duty.
Yeah.
Now he was also.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Is this an underserved area in the military? I mean, concentrating on so many things: physical fitness and service to your country and whatever branch you're in. Highly skilled training. But is finances kind of left up to the individual?
Well, yes and no. I think it's like medical. Military and money are two very serious business, just like medical and military are serious businesses. And there are resources to help you, but you do have to take some ownership in that. And I think the Department of Defense has made great strides in providing financial guidance and help to service members through the life cycle of their career, whether you're a new recruit, you're a new lieutenant, serving 20 years, serving 4 years, there is help there, education, and then resources on installation. I mean, they've even started a program called Mil Spouse Money Mission just for military spouses in finance. So they are doing the work to make sure people have financial literacy and education to make informed decisions. But again, you're dealing with a very young crowd. So just like me when I was young and enlisted, not always listening, but they are providing it. It's just, getting in tune with the information and the resources out there.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like a program. A friend of mine played pro football, Gary Balding, we all know him. And he says they brought you in as a rookie and they sat you down and said, listen, unlike the military, this career is going to be 4 or 5 years. Here's what you got to do with your money, save your money. And he goes, 99% of the guys just like out the window, didn't listen, went and bought expensive cars. That's what you do at that age. That's why I think it's so important what you're doing is at least making a foundation for these guys, to putting some ideas in their head where, okay, this is what I'm going to have to do in the future.
Yeah.
So it's there when they're ready for it. They might not be ready for it right now, but they have some familiarization with concepts and know that, hey, there's help out there. I just need to kind of get refreshed and go find it. But yeah, not everybody's listening. And, there's also this fear of, I don't know enough, to put yourself out there. Money is a really intimate subject. And so it's sometimes hard for people to start to have those discussions because they're revealing things like, hey, they don't have money or they grew up in a situation that wasn't so great. It could be fighting with spouses over money. So there's all these things that come with it that, make it so sometimes people are trying to avoid that topic, but it's something that you can't kick the can down the road.
Yeah. We do that a lot.
Well, especially in that situation too. A lot of guys want to bury it under a tree. They've never had money. And they're like, I think the safest thing is just saving it all instead of investing in things and doing what she says. So makes sense.
You talk about, the age 19. It always struck me the IRA model of from 19 to 28 or 18 to 28, put 2,000 and, do that. It's important to do it early. So I imagine most of the people that you're dealing with are, newly enlisted, starting out, but you also, I'm sure, work with folks in any stage of their career.
Oh, yes. I think, sometimes people think rank makes people immune to some, financial problems, but that is far from the truth. If you look at statistically, the the military's made of a much younger population. So sometimes you have people that are joining at 17 years old, many of them sometimes married. And so you're not only, dealing with a young service member, you're dealing with a young couple, and it's, getting them to see these things are important to start saving right now. Because in your earning years, you're saving money for two people, yourself and your 80-year-old self. And if you're not putting that money away and saving for your future, you're not going to have that quality of life. So it's starting to have these conversations that people may have not had before at a young age. But, you could be a newly divorced 40-year-old in the military and have different financial needs. So I think it's across the board, as life changes, so does your money.
What's the average enlistment of a military? A lot of guys only do 4 years, I understand, but a lot of guys sign up for 8. Do a lot of guys make it a career?
Well, the statistic used to be, and it's the only reason why I know this is because it was a financial thing, that 85% of people were getting out before they retired. And so they were leaving the military without a pension. So they didn't have a retirement plan. So they changed the thrift savings plan, which is the military's version of a 401k. So I would say, definitely the majority of people get out before they retire, but I don't know the exact stat on whether that's 8 years or
is it 25 years to get a pension, or how long do you get a pension? 20 years? So most people are getting out before 20 years. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And how do folks that are in the military, no matter which branch, get in touch with you, or how do you find them? How do you find each other?
Yes. So milmo.co is my website. That's a great way to connect with me. Also on any social media platform, it's Milmo. You can reach out to me there, but that's how a lot of people reach out to me, is through messages, through emails, asking questions or, giving feedback, and, shows that they might be interested in topics, but questions, but that's normally how people reach out to me.
Yeah. Off the record, what do you feel about cryptocurrency?
If you don't understand something when it's going well, you sure as heck aren't going to understand it when it's going bad. So if that is something that you are really passionate about and want to learn, that might be a thing for you. But I believe money, if you get really good at the basics, you're going to be very successful and build wealth if you just stick to the basics.
Yeah. Hence the tech boom 25 years ago.
Yes, I remember.
Everyone was like, we're all going to get rich. And then we all lost everything.
Yep. They said when you're getting advice from your plumber on stock,
yes,
bartender, and literally a friend, Mike Ragusa, who was in fact a plumber, was giving me advice on a company called Broadvision. I don't know what they do. Bought it, but fortunately, it was not a lot of money.
Not too expensive a mistake.
Lacey, I imagine there's certifications and licenses that you had to get after you were in the military.
Yes. Yeah. So a degree in finance. Also, I'm an accredited financial counselor. I have a background in financial planning, but I am not an advisor. So some of the licenses that come with investment advice, I do not hold. But I don't give investment advice, so that's why I don't hold that. I work in the financial coaching space, which is more the kick in the pants, getting people inspired to reach their goals.
Yeah, I noticed that on your website, you emphasize a sense of humor, which is important. It's important in these cases because people don't always it lightens it. It's a heavy topic, but it lightens it a little bit to play that side. I noticed that with the kick in the pants and earlier references.
Yes, absolutely. Money is a hard topic for some people. First of all, the military community has a really great sense of humor. So you've got to have that if you're working with the military community, because it is a serious business. So people are looking to lighten the mood. And then with money, sometimes people are coming in and it's a really hard situation they're in. And I like to make sure people know that it's for right now. It's not forever. And that's what I'm there to do, is to help get them out of that situation, get them where they need to be. And a sense of humor can really go a long way when somebody is feeling overwhelmed.
Again, we have to remind folks how to reach out. Now, do you only work with military, or do you also work with civilians like the three of us?
Yes, I work with other individuals, but I would say the vast majority are active duty military or veterans or military spouses.
Yeah, and housing as well, I would imagine.
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Do you give advice on housing situations, mortgages, and?
Well, yes, I do coaching on especially like the VA home loan guarantee benefits, stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome stuff. Lacey Langford, founder of Milmo. Military.
Milmo.co.
Yeah, milmo.co. That's
Yes.
that's how you get in touch with us. We appreciate you so much for joining us in the arena. Just one quick question. Have you heard of LifeVac before?
You know what? I recently became familiar. I'm very excited as somebody that's all about safety and being prepared, but happy to get further familiar with LifeVac.
Yeah, it's all about us connecting with the people in their arena, doing great things, and you're certainly no exception to that. So we appreciate you so much for joining us.
Thank you for helping the veterans.
Yeah.
The military,
Thank you,
the
Lacey.
soldier. Yep.
Thank
Lacey,
you.
we appreciate it. We'll be back with more in the arena after this.
Protect your family. Buy LifeVac now.
Thank you, Daddy.
That was us over 10 years ago.
Now, LifeVac is responsible for saving over 4,000 lives from choking.
In the time it takes you to pick up the phone and call, another life could be saved.
The LifeVac saved my life in 1 to 2 seconds.
Protecting families has always been our mission. I'm sure you love your family like I love my daughter. Do us all a favor and get your own LifeVac now.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-LifeVac. Order now.
Arena.
Bronchitis.
What a great conversation we're having, and we're joined, those
By-
of you that are just listening, by Heidi Felix, Vice President of Sales.
I thought it was
at LifeVac.
Roadshow.
Who is that girl?
First it was Roadshow, now it's Heidi Felix. Heidi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I'm a bit late, but
That's
it is,
okay.
Long Island
entrance-
traffic.
Gotta love the LIE.
That's
Yep.
what we deal with.
Yep.
That's what we deal with. The Long Island Distressway, they like to say it.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
But you had a recent trip.
I just got back from this beautiful little town, Orange, Texas, which is I got a little award called the
Oh.
Safety on the Move Award, and I worked with this woman, and you've had a chance to meet her, Kelly Meadows. She's the director of health services at the Little Cypress Mauriceville School District, and you know what I love about her is her passion and her purpose is really about safety. And when it comes to safety on the move, it was interesting because sometimes situations happen that make people that opens their eyes and where they need to focus their efforts. And they realized that after an incident, that they needed to make sure that every single one of their transportation vehicles was equipped with a stop the bleed, a first aid kit, in addition to a fire blanket, and of course a LifeVac.
That's where you come in.
Yes.
And you let's be honest, you've been involved with the fire blankets and making sure everyone's prepared across the board.
Oh yeah. And actually I'm not the best cook. So it sits right next to my stove, just in case, because I have this new gas stove and I don't know what I'm doing. But I will tell you that one of the things that I love about Callie is that she's so proactive. Usually it's not a reactive situation for her. So, they built a playground, which was all about safety and safe play and, all these things that are really structured for the scenario. And she calls the children that she built it for is her special kids and kids that might not be able to play on a traditional playground. So she gave me a tour of her beautiful little town of Orange, Texas, which is just a couple of miles away from Louisiana. Wow. And it was definitely an interesting trip. I mean, Pat and I were just talking about being on a plane right now is not a fun thing at all. And so,
but if you get an award, you gotta do it.
You gotta go.
Well, she kept
the
saying,
SOTMA award.
Are you sure?
Safety on the Move award.
Yeah, it was so funny because I was actually with
SOTMA.
Roadshow Ryan at EMS World when I got the news that she wanted to talk to Arthur. I'm like, did I do something wrong? She wants to talk to our CEO. And she goes, no, just you'll understand when I talk to Arthur why I'm calling him. And she wanted to make sure that if she could have me come in person, would that be possible? And Arthur's like, she has to be there in person. She tells me all about you. And so, because I've been working with her.
He's great like that.
He's
so good.
Huge heart. He sent us
Huge
down to
heart.
Florida last week just so that we could be with the Van Zants.
And we didn't get any award.
Yeah,
Like,
No,
if
no.
you're getting an award, you got to go.
I got to tell you, and what was so nice is I said to, because I got this presentation at the Board of Education for Little Cypress Mauriceville. And at that point, I'd already met all the nurses. She'd taken me to all of her schools. I'd met all of the principals, the superintendent. I already knew Stacy Brister because I worked with her on the program. But what was so nice is that her family was there, so I got to meet her family, her daughter, her son,
Wow.
her grandchildren. And she even brought me over to meet her parents. And it's such a little town. Everyone knows each other. So everyone's like, wherever we went, everyone knew Kelly. right?
Yeah. She leaves that impression.
She
She's like
does.
Was
She's
there a cash
amazing.
award?
There was no cash award, but I will tell you,
plaque.
it was the most amazing experience because, again, hearing about all these flights that were going to be canceled, and she was concerned, are you going to be able to be there? And I really want to meet you. And all this time, I've been working with her for 3.5 years now, and Kelly has taken this and trademarked the Safety on the Move program that, it's just incredible. And she went to other regions and other areas throughout Texas to promote Safety on the Move.
Literally on the move.
And LifeVac, for that matter. And then as soon as we found out about the bill, because we were working with Tony LeBate and Equal First Aid on that, she actually would introduce all the information about that. And she was so proud because when she was giving me the award, she goes, and we actually got a bill passed. And I said, and you're amazing governor, made sure that happened. So
Governor Abbott.
Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So we want to invite into the circle as we honor our veterans this week. And we should be honoring them throughout the year, but the Wallace family, Jerry and Terry Wallace, veterans themselves and doing great work. They join us now from, you're going to have to refresh my memory, both in North Carolina and Georgia?
One's in a wedding, yes.
Yes. Gentlemen, welcome. Welcome in the arena.
Thank you for having us.
Now, Jerry, I'll start with you because you're a frequent guest, not a frequent guest, but you've been here before in the studio, so you know how things run. But we want to hear an update on the book, Surrounded by Heroes.
Yep, we're presently talking to a couple publicists in order to pitch the book to some different publishers. So the big hurdle now is get a publisher on board so we can actually go ahead and launch the book.
That's awesome. The 12 virtues for every man.
For every man, yeah, basically 12 virtues that we as a nation all agree upon, and virtues that I learned as a young man as a sentinel at the tomb of the unknown soldier.
That's right. We gloss over that. Such a great career that you had, and the work that you're doing now, with the book and spreading the word. That was incredible. You were 20 years old?
Yeah, when I first went down there, I was 20 years old, and I spent 1.5 years down there guarding the tomb. One of the great honors of my life.
Yeah. And how about, I was reading today the background on the unknown soldiers in different parts of the world and how they're signified, how they're chosen. Right. Really remarkable.
Yeah. Well, England and France started the routine thereafter. World War I in the United States followed the very next year. And since then, we've in turn the additional unknowns of World War II as well as Korea.
Yeah, and we often tie books and people that come in the arena with Arthur Lee's book, and I was struck by the chapter or the virtue of humility. It's an important distinction.
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of the latter virtues I talk about because it's so hard to talk about. We all need more humility in our lives.
Leave it to me to bring it up.
Yeah.
But it's great. So you're in talks with the book. We're watching the video, and your brother Terry. Welcome, Terry.
Hey guys, glad to be here.
I will leave it to Terry to talk about the naming of the kids because I thought it was just maybe two brothers that have names that rhyming, but it's the whole family.
Whole family has Terry, Jerry, Sherry, and Gary. And it was always entertaining when we got stationed in a new area. We'd be in church, and my dad would introduce the family, and everybody buckle up. So
buckle up.
It's followed us all of our lives.
Yeah, and talk about your military career.
Well, I started out as a combat medic in '76, and after I did that, I got selected to go to medical school through the Army's assistant program. And after I completed that, I was a warrant officer, and then I became a physician assistant after graduating, and then became a commissioned officer, and then I jumped ship from the Army to the Air Force.
Wow.
And interesting, I think that you retired from physician after physician associate it has become the PA designation.
Now called physician associate, yeah. But back in assistant, correct.
Yeah. When did the medical training was through the Army?
Yes, it was. University of Oklahoma.
Wow. Amazing stuff. And you later were in dermatology, is that correct?
Yeah. I've always had enjoyed dermatology. And when I joined the Air Force, the hospital that I worked at, they didn't have a dermatologist. So, process of elimination, I became the dermatology consultant. And so a lot of my referrals were to a civilian dermatologist. And after I thought about it, because I was doing internal medicine at the time, I said, well, I'm going to, do this full time. So I contacted one of the dermatologists that I would send my consults to. And he said, well, come on down, let me interview you. And I interviewed, and 22 years later, I retired.
Wow.
Amazing.
Must have been a good interview.
Oh, it was great. It was
You knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Is there any competition amongst the brothers and the family?
Well, yes, but it's
I'm gonna let you answer that, brother.
we grew up very competitive. We were, sports fanatics.
The games do count.
Yeah, and so I guess that's how we got into that competitive role. When I went off to join the Army first, my brother was like, "Well, I got to do something like that," so he went off and joined the Army. Right,
Jerry, was it your post that characterized all of the different, or I think it was Ed McComiskey, another gentleman that I know on Facebook, posted pictures from the earliest of conflicts, and the family had been involved in each and every one, up to and including, the situation in Iraq. So, Jerry, was there other brothers, other siblings that went into the armed forces?
No, we were the only two of the five. Our father was a career Army officer. So we were raised as military brats. So we lived all over the world. As a matter of fact, I was born in Italy, and both my brother and I graduated high school in Panama Canal Zone. So we've lived all over the place. And we went in and also traveled all over the world. So we were pretty well instituted into the military lifestyle at an early age.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
That's
can't be said
amazing.
often enough that I really appreciate all your service and everything that you do and continue to do. How do you, is Veterans Day a different day for you, having served? How do you spend your day or the week?
Who are you talking about?
Both.
Okay.
Well, I'll go ahead and answer that first.
Yeah. Sorry, Jerry.
Only because the ethos of a veteran is no different from anybody else that's willing to sacrifice and be as selfless as possible, because it's all about serving a common good greater than self. And whether it be mother or father or business owner, they have that same ethos. But as a veteran, we know it because we've served our country, willing to lay our lives down if necessary to serve a greater cause. But it's the same ethos that's shared by many others that are willing to be selfless.
And then therein lies the humility portion. Terry, how about you? This week stand out?
Every Veterans Day stands out to me. I just because of the sacrifices, a lot of my friends, fellow soldiers, airmen that paid the ultimate price. I always bring them to the forefront of my mind when I'm honoring Veterans Day. When I have people thank me for my service, I always come back and say, it was really an honor and a privilege.
It's amazing. My dad, is funny because you were talking about being in the Army. My dad actually got his Army notice because he was served that when he was in Korea. So he went down and he enlisted in the Navy because he said all the Army guys were dying and he didn't want to be one of them. So as an 18-year-old, he made a wise decision and spent 4 years in the Navy in Korea. And then my brother obviously didn't learn from that because he decided he was going to go in the Navy. So he spent 8 years on a nuclear submarine. I know that was a crazy job.
Was there any pressure on you?
No, what's funny, because I thought for sure my son was going to go into the military. And Terry, as you were talking about, getting your PA, my son was in pre-med, and one of the gentlemen in the program was telling him all about, I was, the child of a single mom, so I get it. It's expensive. So he goes, I went into the Army and I served 5 years in the Army and they paid for my medical school. So I thought for sure that's what Hunter would have done. But No, he's a
He
tree
chose a
doctor instead.
public school.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. He's happy.
8 years on a submarine.
Oh,
I
I
couldn't
know.
spend 8 minutes on a submarine.
God bless my son, my brother. Just he has so many stories to tell about. He was a sonar tech and things that he saw. He couldn't tell anybody where he was because he had 16 silos that you couldn't say that there was missiles on the submarine. But we did get a chance to visit and go down on it, and it is as big as a carrier under the water, which we didn't know. It was called the James K. Polk. Yeah, so I absolutely appreciate what you guys do. Having been raised by a military family, I have nothing but the most respect for what you've done. Thank you. And my high school sweetheart was in 82nd Airborne, jumped out of planes for a living.
So did I.
Did you? You were in Fort Bragg too?
Yeah. I spent a year and a half in the 82nd Airborne before I went to Washington, D.C. to be a part of the Honor Guard.
That's amazing. Yeah, he didn't come back the same after Desert Storm. He saw, I'm sure, a lot of things that you wouldn't like to talk about, and he won't either.
Hey, we've had a change, gentlemen. We've had a change at the Veterans Administration, certainly with the new administration. I'm just curious if you notice a difference, if you're part of the VA on the medical side. Is there a different atmosphere?
Better?
Is morale better?
Well, in Georgia, my VA center tell that it's definitely geared towards really letting the veterans know as soon as they come through the door how much they're appreciated, and it's just a whole different attitude. And I think Doug Collins has done just an absolutely wonderful job.
Terry, where are you? Are you in Augusta?
No, I'm in Warner Robins, Georgia, at near Robins Air Force Base, is where I retired.
Nice.
And how outside the VA, is there other opportunities for you all to get together with folks that you serve with? Is there a community?
I just came back from one, quite frankly. Every 2 years, we have a Tomb Guard reunion up in Arlington Cemetery. We do it over Veterans Day weekend. So I was up there Friday through Sunday with all my Tomb Guard brothers, enjoying fellowship. We just got back Sunday night.
That's got to be warm the heart, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So Terry, because you were mentioning you were in the Air Force, my uncle was a colonel at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and he served in Korea, Vietnam, and everything else in between. And at the end of his life, he was actually at the Pentagon. So when we went to his funeral at Arlington, Colin Powell was there, all these people. Wow. And I was like, oh my God, this is my Uncle Steve. Like, you never realized, what an important person he was, but he was instrumental in a lot of the wars, actually.
Out.
Yeah. Well, I might add to the story. My wife, I can't say she still is a Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine. She served 4 years in the Marine Corps before we met one another. And she actually served as the secretary to Secretary of Navy in the Pentagon while she was in.
Amazing. So many people that I know, my two closest friends, both of their sons served in the Marines and did a couple tours, and then they go, okay, we're done. 4 years, we're done. It's all good.
Hey, what can civilians people like myself, when approach you, see something that you're wearing from the military, from your past service, what's the correct way to approach someone like yourselves? Or is there a bad way?
Jerry, why don't you answer that?
I think it's come pretty common for people when they determine that you're ex-military to thank you for your service. I think that's quite appropriate. And most of us veterans respond with, it was our honor, because it really was. To serve our country was a great honor. But it's nice to be appreciated also.
It really is. You hear about stolen valor, stuff like that. And, when you're really recognized for who you are, it really means a lot.
Yeah.
My dad loved his Korean War veteran hat. Whenever somebody would say something, he'd be so proud. It was an honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. To that, and I'm sorry, Terry, when we were, prepping and reading through the book and talking about the history, you had, did you already have an appreciation for history?
Oh, without a doubt. We were raised that way. My father, promoted history. Every different place we lived, we learned about the area. So again, as a soldier and as a sentinel at the tomb, it just further solidified that desire to learn.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring up the graphic because it ties in perfectly with February 14th, the big date down in Fort Myers, Florida. We'd love to invite you both as VIPs
We'd
to
love
Brian Kilmeade. Bobby has it. There it is. February 14th, 2026. It's coming up. Happy birthday,
Valentine's
America.
Day. Yeah, 250 years.
Fort
The
Myers,
Marines was
Florida.
last week.
History, Liberty, and Laughs tour. Guys, I hope to see you both there.
Thank you.
We look forward to it. Absolutely.
And thank you for your service, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much.
Absolutely. Our honor.
And you're always welcome back here as we salute our veterans this week. Jerry and Terry Wallace, thank you so much, gentlemen.
And
God
Ryan
bless.
said,
We'll see you along the way. And we will be back with more in the arena after this.
Ryan's up, right?
She started to choke on a piece of candy.
She wasn't breathing.
Then Ray reached for the LifeVac and it saved her.
She could have easily died that day. A LifeVac saved her life. What I would say is don't need a LifeVac and not have it. Have a LifeVac and hopefully never need it.
Recently, the American Red Cross has added anti-choking devices as an option when standard protocol fails or is not feasible.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-543-3822.
No, we didn't.
Welcome back in the arena. My name is Rick Fatscher. It has been all night. I'm here with Heidi Felix and Ryan Roadshow Warner. Ryan, I'll ask you, and you have to be close to the microphone for this. Did the Roadshow moniker hurt in any way? It's taken well, right?
Yeah, no, it's taken very well. The families at the Costco's, a lot of them have heard of LifeVac and they all love it. You know, it's great to have just to be prepared. You hope you never need to use it, but you want to have it in case you do.
Percentage wise, I would say it's like 95 to higher positive interactions. Every once in a while, there's
I would say 99% positive, and then there's always going to be that one person out there that
comes with an attitude.
Yeah.
Why is it so expensive?
Yeah, well, it's going to save your life.
And you have to, exactly.
What is the price of a life?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's this portion of the show that we normally talk about the statistics, and we're coming up quickly on 5,000 lives saved. Just those that are reported. And really amazing. Obviously, this week we all expect to hear from Mr. 3000, Ray Priebe, not with us tonight, but we always welcome Ryan Roadshow to come in with the stats, the stories. And Pat O'Rourke is here still, and he wants to get I think he already got his guess in for tonight, right? And did you enter the contest, Pat?
We got bets in.
Yeah.
I'm going for Sunday, the 16th.
Apparently, as I tried to enter my first guess or first entry, I was told that the contest has now been closed.
Yes.
Over
Because we're coming right up on it.
Yep. Yeah. So where are we at, Ryan?
Well, Bobby, do you have the image?
Here comes the graphic. Boy, get a countdown there. 3, 2, 1. I will give you the 3,034 children saved. Rocketed right through 3,000 and 4986.
Yep. And as Ray always says, it's great when that number is actually lower than what it really is. So
after the making of the graphic, you're trying to tell me that after the making of the graphic, other lives were saved and have been reported.
Another life was reported saved. So I'll go over the total. There's now 4,987 lives saved worldwide. 3,034 have been children. We saved 3 lives just today. Yeah. And now I'll go over the LifeVac save of the week.
The save of the week.
On November 10th, a 16-month-old boy from Maine choked on an apple.
Apple?
Yep. Here is the father's story. If it wasn't for LifeVac, I do not know what would have happened. My son was eating an apple one second and was choking the next. My wife was at home at the time, and we always keep our LifeVac on top of the fridge. So no thinking or searching is required when we need it.
That would work out well for me. No thinking required.
Yep.
It's very simple.
Thank God I showed her how to use it with the practice mask. Otherwise, I don't know what could have happened. LifeVac saved my son's life yesterday. We did end up taking him to the hospital after because he was showing signs of aspiration, but thank God nothing was in his airway or lungs. I bought this almost 3 years ago as a just in case, and thank God we had it. God bless you, LifeVac team. Thank you for saving our boy.
I always cry when it's the little ones, right? Because, we get these reports on a daily basis, and you know, I love to start my day with looking at them, but now what I've started doing is doing it at night so that I'm not a marshmallow all day.
Yeah.
Because it just, you know, you think about these families and they really authentically will share these stories, and it's life changing. And if it's ever happened to you, you know, it's such a scary thing. And, you know, everyone always says the same thing. Thank God for LifeVac, right? Thank God for Arthur Lee for inventing it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wherever Arthur is tonight, we know that he's hearing it. He gets these texts every day, and it's always the same. He's moved, and it started with 4 lives in 2016, after 4 years of basic silence and crickets.
Yep.
You remember those days.
I do. I mean, it's so funny because Arthur posted one of the pictures, and I was showing Ryan the picture of him in front of the wall of saves, which at the time had like 62 pictures on it. And I swear I had every single one of them memorized. Now I walk in there, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many. I don't even remember them all. I do remember the ones that I held in my arms, you know, the ones that we've met and stuff. But it's just interesting. You know, Ryan and I were actually at EMS World a couple weeks ago.
World.
And first of all, Rojo Ryan was rocking the house. It was amazing. And here we are, you know, with all paramedics and, you know, everyone's got a story, right? And he was so good. I mean, I can't even say it enough. I mean, it's not just because you're sitting here, because I know
It was a good team. Teamwork.
It was just great. And
Teamwork, you know what they say.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's what they say.
Absolutely. But, you know, every single day we had a new story. You know, people would come up and tell their stories about, and these are all first responders, right? Telling about, God, if I had only had this. And, you know, it's just every one of them kept walking away and going, this is just so simple. I wish I thought of it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I referenced a plumbing friend earlier who was in plumbing and knows Arthur Lee from high school and kicks himself, saying,
how did I not know?
How did I not think of this?
Right. I mean, I
Takes
think
inspiration.
But it's also, that's the simplicity behind the device, right? Is that Arthur looked at it from your trachea and your esophagus are pipes that connect to your lungs and your digestive tract. So, I mean, what do we use to clear a clogged pipe, right? I mean, it's just something that everyone's used. So you're familiar with how to handle it. So oftentimes when we were doing the demonstrations, I'm like, hold it like a gear shift. And the younger people were looking at me like, gear shift?
What's a gear shift?
Like, I'm old.
About
I'm sorry.
a
We
game
used to actually
module.
not have buttons. We had gear shifts, you know, which allowed us to, you know, change from one gear to another.
Keep it simple.
But
Now,
that's it.
The EMS world was in Indianapolis.
It was in Indianapolis, yeah. Where we were at FDIC at the same place.
And there for the entire week. Is there any, we often think, or we often talk about the quickness of police being the first on the scene.
Yeah.
But I've also recently been educated by different provinces where that's not the case. So EMS, EMTs, fire departments are also gearing with LifeVac. It's not just, I believe we say on average, police are there first, but everyone needs it.
Right, absolutely. So what we're finding, it just depends on the area, right? So a lot of, you'll find a lot of firefighters, actually their day jobs, they're police officers. So a lot of these guys that go to the FDIC are volunteer, right? But a lot of these guys were all career people, right? We're talking nurses, paramedics, and EMTs, all of which really appreciated the LifeVac. I mean, it was really remarkable. We were so busy, you know, at one point, Ryan and I were like, it's just the two of us, right? We got this. This is no problem. And they're lining up to talk to us. And it was such a good feeling because I remember my first EMS world right after the pandemic, and I'm begging people to come over and talk to me, right? I got this new device, come and talk to me. And people are like, so who's going to use that thing? You know, and now all of a sudden tides have changed because people are hearing about our life saves. The statistics alone just state that if you're almost at 5,000 lives saved in 5 years, just think about where we're going to be in another 50 years.
Isn't it insulting when you hear from agencies, not enough data?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that. But you know what? Then we actually send the information to them and say, well, we have 9 peer-reviewed studies. Is that enough for you? Do you want to talk to the thousands of people that we've saved? Because I have testimonials and all kinds of people that would probably tell you differently.
Reminds me of the $10,000 pyramid. You know, things that agency will ask, and they do it, and then almost it comes out just as a habit to say we need more data. Well, you kind of don't.
Well, you know, I think it takes a death before anybody does anything, which is the sad part. And I think that's why doing things like In the Arena, doing the shows that we do,
Raising awareness.
But I think the educational component is so key. The hands-on, giving them an opportunity to touch it, feel it. Ryan does this incredible demo, but then, we say, why don't you try it? Right? It's that simple. And then all of a sudden they go, oh my God, it really is that simple. So it's wonderful to see first responders who really have such an appreciation for our product. Matter of fact, like I have this little cup here from Nucor, one of our steel manufacturer has implemented LifeVac at a lot of their plants because they're so focused on safety because, obviously they're in a very high pressure job, but we have, first responders that are on the scene and they are actually promoting it also to others. So one of my guys at Nucor was talking to the local sheriff's office and now they're considering it. So, you'll never know who you're talking to that you can make a difference, right? And educate one more person about LifeVac.
Yeah. I always remember that scene from Tommy Boy when his father is showing him the refrigerator. And he said, and I always think in that cadence, anywhere where food is consumed.
Anywhere.
Anything. Right.
I mean, people go, have you talked to restaurants?
Yes.
Oh, no,
We're trying.
To no restaurants. And
you know what? We're going to be back in a minute, and I'd like to talk about our efforts at the VA, if that's okay.
Of course.
We'll be back with more In the Arena after this.
Ben Carson here with a potentially life-saving message. I may be a retired neurosurgeon, but trying to help save lives is something I'll never stop doing. Every year, this world loses around 5,000 lives that could have been saved from choking accidents. That's why I've partnered with LifeVac, a company based right here in the USA. It's simple to use, can be used on adults and children, plus it's guaranteed for life. Most importantly, if you ever have to use it in an emergency, they replace it for free. Join me on my mission to ensure every home, business, restaurant, and school in this country has a LifeVac. Go to the lifevac.net and order your very own life-saving device today. Thank you.
So great to hear from Dr. Ben Carson. I don't know if the radio audience gets that benefit, but Dr. Ben Carson firmly advocating for LifeVac. Welcome back In the Arena. My name is Rick Fatscher. Again, it has been all evening, all year, really, along with Roadshow Ryan Warner and Heidi Felix, who was talking with, I mean, you guys on the heels of EMS World. Such a great opportunity to get out away from, not that it's not great being in the Hall of Saves every day, but to get out there and talk to the community.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking before the break, or I teased before the break, talking about our efforts. This being Veterans Day week, I'll call it the week. We honor our veterans. We have conversations. You've had many conversations with the local VAs, and it started in Orlando with Annie Ball.
Yeah, so Annie Ball actually had experienced death on what they called the Community Living Center, CLC, down in Orlando. One of our beloved patients had made it through a war, was disabled, and having lunch with his sister, pizza of all things, and hot pizza, you go when something's hot. And this gentleman, unfortunately, died of cardiac arrest because they couldn't get him out of the wheelchair in time. It took two nurses because he was a big guy. And they said it was just one of the most horrific things to watch one of their beloved veterans die in their community living center. So Annie set to work on making sure that she was going to get LifeVac implemented in Orlando. We've saved 3 lives, all disabled veterans.
It's amazing.
All without taking them out of their wheelchair, which is the most remarkable part of it. But Annie has become such a voice in the VA medical centers. And so I was asking originally Terry if he was in Augusta, because we have it in Augusta. My sister actually happens to live there. We knew somebody at the medical center, and the medical director actually implemented it there. But along the way, a lot of the VAs have had also mortalities. Like the fatality is just something that really, when somebody's died, it's just such a horrible thing. And so each one of these facilities that I've worked with, that's typically what's happened, is usually they're calling me after the fact. So we have a number of them that are already equipped, Chillicothe in Ohio, and we have a lot of actually doctors recommending the LifeVac to patients with dysphagia. I did a program in Baltimore at the healthcare system, and we got a grant to be able to give out to all new veteran mothers LifeVac, which is great, along with any patient, again, diagnosed with dysphagia, which is, again, a condition a lot of times that happens after stroke. It's swallowing issues. The ability to chew and swallow is compromised. And so many of them are choking hazards. And then we also did that in South Texas, down in San Antonio. We did the same program with the emergency management team, and they deployed LifeVac to all patients, again, with dysphagia and new veteran moms. So there's been a lot of advocacy to get it into the hands of veterans.
Not only in the centers or in the medical facilities, but also at home for those folks that are
correct. The ones
doing
that
most of their eating at home.
Peace of mind for caregivers.
Right.
So the latest one that I've been working with two very big ones, the VA Boston. There was a very passionate ER nurse. Her name is Alex, and she has been remarkable. I've been working with them for about 3 years now. After again a death in the ER, which was awful, and she wanted to make sure it never happened again. And so we've been working with their group, and there is a lot of outreach, let's call it outpatient clinics, that they do in the Boston area. And so we're kind of buttoning that up very soon. And then I've also been working with the National Sim Lab out in Palo Alto, and Cynthia Shum, who is just remarkable, and she has done so much due diligence. I mean, what I've found is people with a purpose and a passion have these missions themselves to make sure that they can get this deployed wide scale. So she put together a proposal to have it implemented at all VAs, which is incredible as a result of what she's done in the Sim Lab. And ironically, my Annie Ball down in Orlando is at the Sim Lab in Orlando now. She's no longer in the community living center, but we still stay in touch. So all these wonderful people who have incredible passion and purpose, and all they want to do is make it happen.
We have to, if she'd be willing, have to have Miss Shum in the arena.
I know she's on vacation at the moment. But what's really neat is that we've done so much work on this one that this is going to be one of our, let's call it best practices, because of what we've done with Cynthia, what we've done with the Boston people. I have just so many incredible people that we know have really jumped on the bandwagon. Alex did a lot of the presentations for me, which is great because I wasn't in Boston, obviously, but I would just feed her information. And so she met with what they call the BLS team, which is the training team. She met with, the nursing teams, and then she kind of pulled me in, to kind of help her with the upper level presentations. But everything has been it's interesting is it does take a little longer when you're dealing with the government. Obviously they're spending taxpayers' money, so they do it very consciously, making sure that every decision that they make is a good one. But what we're really excited about is preventing those tragedies from ever happening.
From our perspective, it's a simple, cost-effective fix, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But when you're spending government dollars and you have budgets and all kinds of layers of command, one of the things that I think they pride themselves in is the training that they deploy, and everything has to be just bar none the best. So,
didn't you just complete a training video special order for a
special
VA?
order for the VA? And then the American Heart Association decided to add backflows into their protocols again. So we had to yet again change it.
Re-edit.
Which is fine. Ryan Sharman has been great. We have a paramedic who does a fantastic job on the video, who happens to be a fire captain that we've worked with on many of the EMS shows too. And so he actually was able to edit it, which worked out perfectly. And we have a special poster because, in a medical environment, calling 911 is not what they do. It's called activate emergency response. So there's code blue, right? There's different codes in a medical environment. So we updated the choking poster for the VA as well. So all these elements of what we've done
They're in place.
With this
you
program,
have laid the groundwork.
Let's hope so, because we've got a lot of VAs that aren't protected at the moment that are looking to make sure that they can deploy the LifeVac.
Yeah.
But it's usually they're calling me after the fact, which is the tragedy, because having had a father and a brother who are veterans, every single man or woman who's served deserves an equal chance to live, just like equal first aid.
Whether or
talk
not
about that too.
Whether or not they have a condition that would cause them to be more prone to choking, it happens anyway.
Yep. And we have to be sensitive with language too in that world, because, calling them disabled, maybe immobile is another better way of stating it. And there's other things that, out of respect for what they've done for our country. I mean, we have to go above and beyond to make sure that this happens.
I like that language from the American Red Cross that says if it doesn't work,
if it's not feasible,
or not feasible.
Exactly.
And that's an important distinction. And it took them, who cares that it took them a long time?
47 years, but who's counting? So yeah. Well, the guidelines really, I get a lot of questions about why is the American Heart Association or the American Red Cross, why are they not endorsing our product? They don't endorse product.
No.
I mean,
they make recommendations.
Right. We're a brand, and the name of our company is our product. So they can't endorse it, just like they can't say, oh, buy a Zoll instead of a Philips, for an AED. What they will is recommend a process or a procedure and things that they introduce into their curriculum.
And they call them airway clearance device.
And yes. They call, actually the latest thing was anti-choking is the one that is in the American Red Cross guidelines. But again, it's the matter of semantics. Like, we're looking to clear an airway quickly. Like in CPR, the first step is clear the airway, because if you don't clear the airway, that obstruction's there. That person is not getting oxygen to the brain. That's the key here, right? And that's what our product does quickly and efficiently.
Amazing stuff, Heidi. I look forward to the future where we connect the top and all of the great work that's being done at the lower levels in the VA. We're important.
Praying on it right
Absolutely. Now. Listen, that's going to wrap up this special Veterans Day edition of In the Arena, brought to you by LifeVac, the life-saving device trusted by families and heroes alike. A heartfelt thank you to our guests, Gerald Wallace, Terry Wallace, and Lacey Langford, and also Heidi Felix, Rocho Ryan, and of course, Patrick O'Rourke. What do you got, Pat?
Safety on the Move Award.
Safety on the Move Award recipient, Heidi Felix.
You.
Awesome
Thank
stuff.
you to Kelly Meadows for giving that to me. I am just so blessed and grateful.
And also a shout out to the organizations making a difference every day. Of course, the Veterans Administration, Vet Dogs USA, Tunnel to Towers Foundation, frequent guests here on In the Arena. And most of all, to our veterans, we honor you, we thank you, and we stand with you. Until next time, I'm Rick Fatscher, reminding you that courage doesn't end when the battle does. It lives on in the arena. Mike Rowe, take us away.
It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death, so get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.